Welcome to the 2018 Paris Motor Show. So I've come here bright and early, still barely light outside. What I wanted to do is get to the cars before anyone else so I can give you the perfect A to Z guide of the show. Keep you up to date on all the new cars. Audi is showing quite a lot of new cars here in Paris. So there's the e-tron, which I've already done a video on. There's the new A1, which I've already done a video on. In fact, I really like the look of that car. It looks really, really cool. And then there's the R8 Le Mans car. This is the big news though, the world premiere of the SQ2. What you got under the bonnet is the same engine as in the S3, so a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol with 300 horsepower. Also, you've got uprated brakes, uprated suspension, and of course, uprated stylings. The big news here on the BMW stand is, of course, the new 3 Series. In fact, it's the big news of the entire Paris show. It's an all-new car, all-new design. Car is also slightly bigger for more interior space as well, though it's slightly lighter, up to 50 kilos lighter. If there was one thing I was more worried about than anything else with this new 3 Series was whether BMW was going to follow Audi and Mercedes down that horrible route of fake exhaust pipes. But no, they haven't. Look, they've kept it real. Good old BMW. You can trust them, can't you? Another thing you can trust BMW for is to make its cars look better in the flesh than they do in video or pictures. So when I first saw this new Z4, I was a bit like, yeah, so what? But here we can see all the angles of the lights of the body panels. It does actually look pretty cool. Feels suitably sporty, sitting nice and low, brilliant driving position. You've got the latest iDrive, like in the 3 Series, iDrive 7, digital driver's display. I think that's enough of that. Let's go check out one more car. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, Matt, that's not new. This is the i3S. We've already seen that. But this one's a bit different. You see, it's got a bigger battery in it. So it's got 43 kilowatt hour battery and should be good for 160 miles. So you don't actually need the range extender. This is the Citroën C5 Aircross plug-in hybrid SUV concept. So it's a plug-in version of the C5 Aircross. It's a concept, so there's no real details on it. They haven't even said they're going to build it yet. Probably will though. It's just the way these things tend to work. Here we have the new DS3 Crossback. So it's a mini SUV from the French firm DS, which, as we all know, is owned by Peugeot Citroën. The car looks quite cool, unlike some other small SUVs, such as the Seat Arona. Here we have a DS7, only this one is plugged in, and that's because it's the DS7 Crossback E-Tense, and E-Tense stands for the fact that it's a plug-in hybrid. So it has 300 horsepower, and that comes from a 200 horsepower petrol engine and a 100 horsepower electric motor. It's 4-wheel drive, got an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and it can do a range of around 50 kilometers on electric power alone. Behind me, kept nice and secure by this kind of glass barrier, are 2 limited edition Ferrari models called the Monza SP1 and the Monza SP2. Now they're actually based on the 812 Superfast, but yeah, as you can see, they've had some serious styling rework done to them. Now these cars are actually designed to kick off a new range from Ferrari called Icona. So this is an exclusive range of cars which really rich people can have made for them. So yeah, if you want that car, 3 million. If you want that car, that's 3 million as well. But Ferrari will probably let you have the both of them for 6 million. There are no discounts to be had from Ferrari. Welcome to the GAC motor stand here at Paris, and you're probably wondering, what's GAC Motor? Well, it's a Chinese company, and they're actually planning on selling in Europe from about 2020 to 2025. And this is their new car. It's the, just got to check to remind myself, the GS5, no less. Oh yes, here it is. So it's sort of like a Hyundai Santa Fe, really. Big-ish SUV. Here at the Honda stand, we have a world premiere, and I know it's a world premiere because they've helpfully written it down the side. Look, Premiere European, or however they say it in French. Anyway, it's the new CRV Hybrid. What you've got is a 2-litre petrol engine under the bonnet, mated to an electric motor, and combined you have 185 horsepower. That's not the interesting bit. What is interesting is that you get around 55 miles per gallon, which is what you get from a diesel. What else to tell you about it? Well, you can get it front-wheel drive, and you can get it in 4-wheel drive, but the 4-wheel drive car has slightly lower economy, but not by much. I'm at the world premiere of the new Hyundai i30N Fastback. So unlike the hatchback, it has a sloping rear end with a boot instead of a liftback tailgate. And it's got the same engine as the hatch, so a 2-litre turbocharged petrol with either 250 horsepower in the normal car or 275 in the performance version. Okay, so no, the Infiniti Project Black S isn't new. We've seen it before, but what you don't know is what powers it. It's a twin-turbo 3-litre V6 with 2 Formula 1 style energy recovery systems. So in total, you have 570 horsepower. Should be quick then. Jaguar is celebrating 50 years of the XJ series here at the Paris Motor Show, and this is the very first XJ6. So this is a 4.2 litre, which is actually owned by Sir William Lyons, the co-founder of Jaguar. Now, to mark the occasion, Jaguar have actually released an XJ50 special edition version of the current XJ. It's just behind me there. That's enough of that, because I want to show you this. The new F-Pace SVR. Now, under the bonnet is a 5 litre supercharged V8 with 550 horsepower. Obviously, you've got all-wheel drive to put that power down onto the road. And on the inside, you've got some extra sporty accoutrements, like some body-hugging bucket seats. Right then, let's get you up to speed on the new cars from Kia. So this is the CGT. It has a 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol engine with 200 horsepower, so a warm hatch. It's also got some sporty looks. Some nice alloy wheels there, load suspension for a more sporty drive. Inside, it's also got some sport seats to hold you in place when you're going around corners moderately quickly. Next, we have this here Pro Seed. So you've got the normal seat hatchback, then you've got this Seed Sports Wagon, which is the estate, then you've got this, which is a kind of estate, but with a more kind of rakish rear end. It's sort of a fastback design, meant to be cooler, and obviously it's more expensive. And finally, we have this, the e-Niro. Basically, it's an electric version of the Niro, so it uses a lot of the technology from the Hyundai Kona EV. So it should be pretty good then. Here on the Land Rover stand, there's only one world premiere, and it's a bit of an odd one. It's this. It's a Red Cross version of the Land Rover Discovery. Now, there's a concept about a year ago, but this is actually ready to go, and it's going to go off to Austria to be used by the Red Cross to help rescue people on the mountains. Now, the idea is that it's a real hardcore off-roader. It's got things like extreme off-road tyres on it, and it can pretty much go further than any other vehicle. But let's say you get to a point where you can't take the car any further, and that is where this comes in. So you've got a drone that you can then pilot, and you can control it from this big screen and control deck here, and you can go off into the mountains and locate survivors. Then when you found them, you can ascertain how you're going to get them back, maybe send in the helicopter. This is a bit of an interesting car that you won't be able to buy, but you may one day be rescued by if you get lost in the Alps. The facelifted 2019 Lexus RC Coupe. So they've revised the styling front and back, though it's not that noticeable. Also, there's some changes to the suspension settings, so it should drive a little bit better. Everything else, though, is pretty much the same as before. Welcome to the Mercedes stand, and I'm going to show you around 4 new cars. Starting with this, the EQC. So this is an all-electric mid-size SUV. Inside, it just seems like a normal car, really, apart from the main infotainment display. It can display exactly what's going on with the electrification system. Moving on to the next car. So this is the new GLE, and it is recognisable as a GLE, but everything is new. So all the body panels, the platform, everything like that. Even the engine, so you've got Mercedes' latest range of engines as well. Inside, it's been taken up a notch, but then the old GLE was really starting to show its age. Big news on this car, though, is that now, for the first time, you can get the GLE as a 7-seater. Here we have the new Mercedes B-Class in matte grey paint, which is a bit of a bold choice for a small MPV. Don't think many people will be selecting that colour, but anyway, it is based on the A-Class. The inside's been toned down a bit, though. It's a little less youthful than the A-Class is. I think it's a bit of a shame. The dash design is a bit more fuddy-duddy. It gets some new engines, which will eventually filter down to the A-Class. Also, it gets a new 8-speed automatic gearbox. So finally, we come to the 4th car, and my favourite Mercedes here today, the new A35 AMG. So basically, this is a rival for a Golf R or an Audi S3. What you got under the bonnet is a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine with 306 horsepower. You've got 4-wheel drive, you've got load stiffened suspension, bigger brakes. This one's got some optional aero on it as well, and it looks pretty cool. Peugeot has what I think is the most beautiful car here in Paris, though it's not this 508 SW, which is an estate version of the normal 508s, even though it does look pretty good. What I'm most excited about is this, the E-Legend. I mean, look at it. How cool is that car? Peugeot have done a fantastic job with it. Yes, I know it's just a concept and they're not going to make it, but it shows what they can do with design. It's a fully electric car, obviously. Concept cars have to be these days. And it's just got so much style. You've got to check out the interior. It's got this really awesome blue velour interior. I love it. I really love it. Here at the Porsche stand is the new 911 Speedster concept. Now, as the name suggests, it's just a concept, so not a real road car, not yet anyway. They'll probably do it in limited numbers. So underneath the skin, this is basically a GT3. So you've got the GT3's engine, naturally aspirated, revs to 9,000 RPM and delivers 500 horsepower. The body, though, is based on the 911 Carrera convertible. However, there are some distinct differences. Noticeably, the front bumper is different. It's made out of carbon fibre. The windscreen is more steeply rated as well, so it looks more aggressive. And then the back part, as you can see it coming around now, this double bubble back cover, that's carbon fibre as well. You don't have the normal cabriolet roof on it, it's more of a tonneau cover that you can put over the car to prevent it getting wet if it rains. Here we have the new Porsche Macan. Now, it doesn't look all that new because, yeah, it's quite similar to the previous Porsche Macan. This is actually a revised bumper, but the biggest difference on the exterior design is a new light bar at the back. This blue colour is new as well, and Porsche has updated the car suspension to make it even better handling. However, the big deal is under the bonnet, so there are going to be no diesel engines, none at all. Inside, you've got a slightly bigger infotainment screen, and that is that. You can actually buy this now, it's around 50 grand. Renault has 3 cars here at the Paris Motor Show. This is the first one, the EZ Ultimo. So it's Renault's latest version of what it thinks an autonomous car would be like. So it's essentially just like a lounge on wheels. Now here we have something more attainable because you can actually buy it. It's the facelifted Renault Kadjar. So they've given it a few styling tweaks at the front and at the back. There's some changes inside as well, only minor, and some updated technology and some new engines as well. Annoyingly, the most interesting car that Renault has shown here at Paris is no longer here on its stand. They showed it last night. It was a little electric car called the KZ. Now that thing's going to go on sale in China in 2019 and eventually it'll be rolled out across Europe. And the exciting thing about it is that it should be available for less than £10,000. Now Seat haven't done a normal stand as such here at Paris. Instead they've got a kind of weird outdoor cafe where they're showing off the new Toyota SUV. Essentially what it is a Skoda Kodiaq but with slightly different styling and a Seat badge on it. Simple. Here on the Skoda stand you can see they're employing me as a model. In fact, I'm kind of making these people look a little bit shabby. I don't want to put them out of work, don't want to put you out of work, mate. Yeah. Right, so this is the new Skoda, it says it up there, the Vision RS. So this is just a concept car for now, but it suggests that Skoda is going to be doing like a sporty looking hatchback. You know, you've got the normal Octavia, which is all sensible and big and practical. This is going to be a bit more fun. So the particular car I've got here, underneath the bonnet, it has a proper engine, a 1.5 litre turbo petrol. That's right, isn't it? You don't know, do you? He has no idea. He's just paid to look beautiful. So yeah, 1.5 litre turbo petrol, but it's mated to an electric motor with 100 horsepower. So combined, you have 250 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds. So this is kind of like a rival for a Golf GTI. Though, as it's a plug-in hybrid, you can go about 43 miles on electric charge alone, apparently. But like I said, it's a concept, but it does point to the future of something exciting coming from Skoda. So anyway, I've got to get back to my part-time job as modelling. Go away now. The Skoda Kodiaq, it's a big, sensible, family-friendly SUV, but they've gone and made it a little bit less sensible by fitting it with a 240 horsepower 2-litre diesel engine. So this is now the Skoda Kodiaq VRS. Oh, look at this little thing. It's the Smart 4E's concept. You're not going to be able to buy it, but underneath the skin, it's an electric 4.2, so it does actually drive. Some cool design features on it as well. The central air vents are actually digital displays. Got these cool seats and these rollover hoops at the back, which I quite like. What a fun little car. Suzuki has apparently facelifted the Vitara, but I don't really know what the styling changes are. Maybe you can tell me in the comments box below. Help others out. I'm clueless. It's quite interesting here on the Tesla stand because they have no new cars. They've only got 3 models, yet they're still managing to draw a crowd, such is the law of the Tesla brand. Here's the new 3. Been out in the States for a while now, and this is the first time I've been up close next to it. It's quite a good looking thing. This is the new Toyota Corolla Sports Tourer, so it's basically the estate version of the Corolla hatchback. So obviously you've got the bigger boot, 600 litres with the seats up, which is slightly more than a Ford Focus estate, but slightly less than a Skoda Octavia.